We got a big show today. We have some rumors about the next Halo game. There should be one that is coming out this year. Apparently, with this rumor, some Xbox is allowing you to fix your Xboxes with other places other than Xbox themselves. Obviously, I'm sure everybody has already seen the Nintendo Switch 2 officially was revealed yesterday. So we'll go through some of that, give you my thoughts, and we'll take a look at the Nintendo Switch 2. Very exciting time as they finally show it off, even though it pretty much is exactly like all of the leaks that we had seen previously for the Nintendo Switch 2. Shuhei Yoshida is now talking. He's not a part of PlayStation anymore, and he's giving us insight about the PlayStation business, where he thinks it shouldn't have gone or where he would have resisted, as well as some interesting information on Bloodborne and the PlayStation Vita, which was a phenomenal handle when it came out, just wasn't really supported. Final Fantasy VII works on the Steam Deck. We have some RTX cards that are now being discontinued and a couple of other things I do want to go over. But before we do continue, hit the like, share the video, all that stuff. Subscribe if you are new. I think there's about 50% of you that aren't subscribed that watch my videos almost every day. So just hit the subscribe if you are enjoying this content. But let's jump into it right here. Let's talk Halo, because Halo Infinite, as we know, had a rocky launch. The game is phenomenal now. It's been phenomenal for a couple of years now. Some people still think it's bad. Not sure why, but it is a great game. But we know Halo is moving over to Unreal Engine 5, so that's going to be a big change for the series, moving away from Slipspace Engine. I think the major reason is just so they can release games at a faster clip and not just have big gaps between the releases of Halos that we did see, or we're seeing right now, between Halo Infinite and then whenever we're going to be getting this next Halo franchise. But it looks like a new game could be coming out this year. This is spotted by GamerRanks, and they say here, industry insider Rebs Gaming recently spoke about the imminent announcement of an upcoming Halo game. His tweet revealed that the studio has been playtesting future games for the franchise on a weekly basis, adding, since they are this far into the development, I expect at least one new Halo game announcement this year, which that would be something I think is time for. I think it's time for a new Halo game announcement, whether it releases this year or not. I don't think it, now you sit back and think about, probably not with all the other games that are coming out, but an announcement. So we will see a look at whatever is coming down the line here from the newly named Halo Studios. I'm very excited as to exactly what they are going to be doing now that they're using Unreal Engine 5. It should be easier to get games out faster. It should be easier to find people that can help develop the game, because there's going to be a lot more people with experience using Unreal Engine 5. And I hope that they have lots of spin-offs. Like, it doesn't just have to be mainline Halo games. Like, you go back to the days where we had ODST, you had Halo Reach, do stuff like that. Give us some stories from other teams out there in the Halo universe. And I mean, those were some of my favorite ones. Halo Reach is a phenomenal game. I love the campaign on that one. So I would love to see them going back into that type of stuff while we wait for that mainline entry into the franchise. And it's sad because I would have liked to see them kind of continue with Halo Infinite, continue that story. Maybe they will, but I feel like we're just going to get kind of a reboot here in Unreal Engine 5 whenever we do get the next mainline series. But it is time to give an update here. We've seen the complete change. We've seen a lot of people who were prominent at 343 before it became Halo Studios leave. It's a new studio in a sense, with a new name and a new direction. It's now time to give the fans what they've been waiting for, and it's what is the next Halo game that is going to be coming out. I could definitely see them announcing it at this year's June showcase. Now, when it comes to the consoles, the Xbox Series X, this is just kind of a quick little update here on where you could potentially repair. Previously, you have to call Microsoft and do everything. They actually are very good at it. If you've ever had an Xbox breakdown, very fast with getting it shipped back to you once they've received it and everything. It's not a very long process, but now you could actually go to YouBreak iFix to repair your Xbox Series X or S in person. They say here that Microsoft will soon let you get in-person repairs from the Xbox Series X and S consoles at YouBreak iFix stores. And they previously offered in-person Xbox repairs only at the Microsoft retail stores, but YouBreak's iFix will be the first Xbox authorized service provider. So if you ever have your Xbox breakdown, I've had pretty much no issues here with my current Xbox Series X, I have the Halo Infinite Edition. So hopefully I never actually have to go get that thing fixed, because they're limited and I think they're pretty expensive now because they don't make them anymore. So hopefully it never breaks down. But they also have an update here saying that added details about which Xboxes do not qualify for the U-Break iFix repair program and which will use single-use plastics in their packaging. So they're also doing single-use plastics for the packaging going forward. But here are the ones that are not eligible for, and here are the ones that won't qualify. So if you have the 1 terabyte carbon black Series X with a disk drive, a 512 gigabyte white Xbox Series S, and a 1 terabyte Xbox Series S, they do not qualify apparently for this program. So they're really opening this up for the 1 terabyte white Xbox Series S, the Xbox Series X Digital Edition, and the Special Edition Xbox Series X Galaxy Black model. So I don't know why they're withholding some of those other models, but it's just another option if you have those current Xboxes, if you want to bring it in store to get it fixed. All right, so the reveal a lot of us have been waiting for, including myself, as I am a Nintendo Switch fan. The Nintendo Switch 2 has finally officially been revealed. I mean, we've kind of already seen it because of all the leaks that did come out, and it ruined the surprise a little bit. So basically, it's what we have seen in terms of the difference between the Switch 1 and the Nintendo Switch 2, but we got the official reveal. They put out just a quick, like 2-minute video just showing off the hardware and showing the differences between the Nintendo Switch 1 and the Nintendo Switch 2. One of the biggest differences right off of the bat you can see is the size. The console itself is bigger. The Joy-Cons as well are bigger. They actually have a good stand here right off of the bat with the first iteration of the Switch 2, because you know there will be many iterations of it if it sells well, at least, where there's many different angles that you can actually play this, and the stand goes all the way across the back itself. The Joy-Cons get a huge upgrade here in more than one way, which I think is a good thing. I like the Joy-Cons themselves, but I was never a fan of the way that they felt, the ergonomics, and just kind of the overall buttons and everything on there. So I'm hoping these ones feel a little bit better than the current Switch. They're bigger, so they should feel nicer in my hands specifically, but there are some cool features. One feature that has been confirmed now from this Nintendo Switch 2 reveal is that you can use this thing. It's looking like you're going to be able to use as a mouse. They show it sliding around here. I love the color scheme that they did go with, and the attachment, I believe it is magnetic. We're not 100% sure there, but there is like a slot that you are going to click it into on the side. And people have been looking at that and thinking that's going to be the first thing that does break on this Nintendo Switch 2, because the connector kind of sticks out a bit. But I don't know if that's just a connector without magnets or it's magneted as well. Not sure yet. We will see more about this when we get more information about the Nintendo Switch 2. But here it is. I mean, it's bigger. It's beautiful looking comparatively, I think, to the current the launch of the Nintendo Switch 1. It also shows off the dock. You do get the logo on it as well with the big number 2. I don't know if I like the big number 2, but I think it is a smart move here by Nintendo, because obviously we saw what happened with the Nintendo Wii and then going to the Wii U. People were just absolutely confused. You can't get confused here. If you're looking at the Nintendo Switch and then the Nintendo Switch 2, you're going to ask questions about what is the difference about these, and you're going to assume that it is a completely different console itself. I think that was one of the issues with the Wii and the Wii U. People just thought kind of it was the same thing, or that those game pads were literally an accessory that you buy for your current Nintendo Wii. I don't think you'll have that issue here with the naming convention with the Nintendo Switch 2. One of the things that they do show off, and they didn't announce anything, but everyone caught on to it, Mario Kart is playing in the background. And I believe this is going to be a brand new Mario Kart with up to 24 racers. That's what's going around when people are showing off the screenshots, because they're showing the starting line and there's up to 24 karts that could be in there. So Mario Kart is going to get a new entry. I think Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is almost perfect. I don't know how they're going to improve on it, but by, I guess, adding more kart racers in there, that will be something that makes it a different experience. So the Nintendo Switch 2 has officially been announced, and this is what we know. Backwards compatible physical and digital with the Switch 1 games. Now, there is a caveat to this. Not every single game is actually going to be backwards compatible, because in the fine print at the end screen, it says play Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive games as well as Nintendo Switch games. Then it says Nintendo Switch 2 plays both physical and digital Switch games. Certain Nintendo Switch games may not be supported on or fully compatible with the Nintendo Switch 2, and details will be shared on the Nintendo website at a later date. So not fully 100% backwards compatible here between the Switch 1 and the Switch 2. I wonder if it's like 99% or if it's more like 70% in terms of the backwards compatibility. I feel like it'll be closer into like the 90% range. It'll just be certain games that just can't get running on it for one reason or another. Probably won't be that huge of a deal for the majority of people. The other thing here is we did see that, again, Joy-Cons can function as a mouse. There are 2 USB-C ports on it. It is coming in 2025, and there is a Switch 2 Direct coming on April 2nd. They mentioned that at the very end of the trailer itself. And we'll probably see games there. We'll get the pricing. We'll get the release date and all of the pre-order information. So it's not coming out in March, which a lot of people thought it would. It's not coming in April. It's going to probably be coming out in the summer timeframe, maybe June. A lot of people are saying that's June. Kind of seen some back and forth on prices. Some apparently prices got leaked that it was going to be $399, but none of that has been confirmed. $399, I think, would be a sweet spot, because one of the things for me with the Nintendo Switch 2 is that if it is an LCD screen, we don't 100% know yet, but if it is, for a lot of people, that's going to be a downgrade handheld wise from the screen comparatively to the Nintendo Switch OLED. But if they do that so they can keep the price at a reasonable price at launch, they need to ship a lot of these right off of the bat. So it could actually end up being $399. I'm very interested in what the pricing will be, because that determines, obviously the US dollar one determines how much it is in other parts of the world. So if it's $399 American, probably going to be like $499 Canadian and things like that. So I hope it isn't higher than $399 US dollars. But the Nintendo Switch is going to be a major thing here for Nintendo. It's almost imperative that they continue to sell it well, because it's basically their entire business. And we have this here from Bloomberg. Robin Zhu, an analyst of Sanford C. Bernstein, said ahead of the announcement of the Nintendo has prepared a supply chain network that will allow the company to sell more than 20 million units in its first year. That compares with the current Switch's sale of around 15 million units in its first 4 quarters. So they're looking at the Switch 2. They're seeing how many people currently have a Nintendo Switch 1. And they're thinking here that they're going to be able to ship more than they did with the current Switch, which also would tell me that price is going to be in the same ballpark as what the current Nintendo Switch did launch at. They're not going to be putting it much higher than that, because to me, if they keep the price the same, it's a lot easier of an upgrade for people who have had the Nintendo Switch now since 2017, 8 years at this point, or anywhere in that range, 5 years, 6 years. People would be willing to upgrade at that point, especially if the price does stay the same. So very excited for this. Can't wait to see more. April, when the Nintendo Direct is out, we will definitely be talking a lot about it. But there seemingly is going to be another Nintendo Direct before the April Nintendo Direct that just focuses on the current Nintendo Switch, because they still want to sell that thing. That thing's still going to be out for sale for a long time. They're still going to be making games for it for a very long time, with the amount of Switches out there, over like 140 million. And apparently there's going to be another Nintendo Direct here focusing on just the Switch 1 games, and it could be coming very, very soon. So it says a Nintendo Direct focusing on games for the original Switch is coming next month, it is claimed. And this is from 2 insiders with a reliable track record that separate Nintendo Direct is going to be based on games for the original Nintendo Switch and will be coming in February. And this was corroborated by Brazilian journalist Pedro Henrique Luti Lipe, who claimed on the Family Boards forum that there would be a new Nintendo Direct next month. So I would not be surprised if that is the case. They're still going to have lots of games coming out. There still are games like the Xenoblade Chronicles X that is coming over to the Nintendo Switch, the definitive edition in March. There's Metroid Prime 4, which they've shown off, and I'm assuming that's going to be releasing on Switch, and then just the best version will be on the Switch too. You got Pokemon Legends is also coming, so they're going to have to try to promote those games for the current console, get more people to buy those. I wouldn't even be surprised if they release a special edition still for the current Switch for one of these games. It's going to be Switch Mania in the next few months and over this year, especially as the Nintendo Switch does end up launching. Now, PlayStation, we know their direction has completely changed. People are still in denial and think that they just care about selling consoles. It is not the case. You take a look at what they're doing, putting more games on PC, trying to get more games as a service, live service games, releasing games day and dates onto PC with a game like Helldivers 2, putting games like MLB The Show into Xbox Game Pass. Their strategy has absolutely changed. Shuei Yoshida was at the helm of PlayStation for a very, very long time. He brought them through, I would say, their best glory years and everything. And now he's gone. He's left. He's retired. And he's now opening up and speaking about PlayStation, where they're going, and their current strategy. One of the things that he said he would resisted at Sony was their live service push. And he also thinks Bloodborne 2 isn't coming until Miyazaki is free, which is something that people have been asking for a very long time. But he was on the Kind of Funny Games podcast with Greg Miller, and he worked for over 30 years at PlayStation's division, holding the positions as Vice President of Sony Computer Entertainment America and President of Sony Worldwide Studios, and then later of the Head of Independent Developer Initiative. And he's talking about the multiplayer games as a service push, and he says this in terms of what he thinks about the direction. He says, I was managing this annual budget and was responsible to allocate resources to what kind of games to make. If the company was considering that way, it probably wouldn't have made sense to stop making another God of War or whatever, like a great single player game, and put all the money into these service games. However, what they did after I moved on and Herman Hulst took over is that they added a lot more resources. I don't think they told him to stop making these single player games. They said, oh yeah, these games are great. Continue doing that. And we give you additional resources to work on these service games and try it. Continues here and says, I'm sure they knew it was risky and the chance of a successful game in this hugely competitive genre will be small. However, the company, knowing that risk, gave Herman the resources and the chance to try it. I think that's the way they did it. So in my mind, I was, oh, wow, that's a great, and hopefully some games will become successful. Luckily, Helldivers 2 did so well. No one would have expected it. You cannot plan a success in this industry. That's the most fun part. I thought if I was in the position of Herman, I would have tried to resist that direction. Maybe that's one of the reasons they removed me. And he laughs. I honestly think that could be a very valid reason why they did remove him. He also mentions something very interesting here. Helldivers 2, and as I mentioned before we got into what he was saying, Helldivers 2 is one of those games that launched day and date on PC. Now, it's not a first-party PlayStation studio, but it is published by Sony, and that has been their most successful games as a service game that they have released, and it launched day one on PC. So if you're PlayStation, you got to try to get in the minds of the executives there. They're definitely looking at that. And I think that will influence their strategy going forward for the release of their games, at least their multiplayer games. I think the majority of them will be released day one on PC as the same time on PlayStation. But Shuya Yoshida pushes back against this. He would have not gone in this direction. And you have to ask yourself, with a failure like Concord, was this the right move by PlayStation? I look at it and I say they definitely need to have some sort of multiplayer games as a service presence. Maybe a game or two that is continuously bringing in money for them to support how expensive their single player experiences and games are to develop. Not every single one of them is going to have a good enough profits for the investors and for the company. So they have to have something on the side to kind of supplement that a bit. But they've struck out so far with their first party stuff with a game like Concord. They have to have one going. I was just surprised to hear about all of the ones that they have in development. And with that, at the same time, they've really just been doing remakes and remasters for a lot of their content. Think how many times they've remade The Last of Us. Think about Horizon with their remasters and everything. And we're hearing about Days Gone remasters. So all of that stuff, they just going and doubling down on the less risky projects, which is the remasters, remakes. And I think a lot of that is because they know they have these games as a service that are going to be far more risky, and they need one of those to succeed to continue with their current strategy of potentially making new games going forward. Now Naughty Dog is making a new game, but besides that, it's been just the same stuff over and over and over again. And then you also have Ghost of Yote as well coming out this year, which is a sequel, but it's still the same IP that they know will be successful. Now, in terms of Bloodborne, people, I don't think you're going to be getting it anytime soon in terms of remake or an update 60 FPS. And Yoshida has this to say: I have only my personal theory on that situation. I left first party, so I don't know what's going on. But my theory is I remember Miyazaki really, really loved Bloodborne, what he created. I think he is interested, but he's so successful and so busy that he cannot do it himself, but he doesn't want anyone else to touch it. That's my theory. And the PlayStation team respects his wish. That's my guess. So if you're looking for Bloodborne, I think you're going to have to wait a little bit longer here, as Yoshida does mention that it probably isn't going to be happening anytime soon with, Elden Ring. They're releasing a new Elden Ring game. There's going to be even more in that universe. Bloodborne is probably lower on the totem pole for bringing the game back, although it would be huge. It would sell extremely well. State of play, I've said since the beginning of this year, this is going to be a year where we get a good state of play from PlayStation with more first party content into it. And it looks like Nate the Hate is saying that we could be getting it in February. So he did reveal that the Switch 2 is going to be announced yesterday, and he was correct on that. So if you're taking that as any way to look forward to his predictions, February could be a date that we do get a new state of play. I'm just fingers crossed here that we do see some more first party content, and it's not just a major third party show, which is kind of what they have been doing over the last 2 years or so, with just nothing big from their first party studios. Now, when it comes to PlayStation Vita, I thought the PlayStation Vita was a phenomenal handheld. I wish it would have been supported longer. I wish there would have been more games that they continue to bring. I mean, there is a great catalog, but I just wish they wouldn't have abandoned it. And Yoshida also comments on this. He says the main reason why it failed, development resources were split and they didn't have enough studios to make games for 2 platforms, so they had to prioritize the PlayStation 4 development. And other reasons, proprietary memory cards were a mistake, which especially with the Vita, it was not very good for those things were so expensive. And you kind of step back and you look at the Xbox Series X and S, and they're kind of in the same situation, that the proprietary memory cards, they're always more expensive than if you just don't have that as the option. The back touch was not necessary and added costs. Yeah, they didn't really use that in very many games. The OLED increased production costs, but it was a beautiful screen for the time. And the Vita dev kit had video out, but they removed it for the final version just to save a few cents. So that's why he's saying it failed. And the main reason here is that they didn't have enough resources to make enough games for it, but it was a phenomenal handle, and I wish that thing would have lasted longer. I would still suggest if you can get a PS Vita, pick one up. It's still have a great catalog of games, first party stuff, and third party content on there. Now, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is coming to PC, and it has now been improved here for Steam Deck. Steam Deck verified, and they show off as well what do they call it here? A fluffy chocobo themed handheld showing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth running on the Steam Deck. This is a game that had issues on the PlayStation 5 in terms of how it looked. It was really grainy. PS5 Pro apparently has made it a lot better, but they're able to get this thing up and running on the Steam Deck. When they do bring this to Xbox, I don't expect any issues of having it run on the Xbox Series S. I know you're going to have people questioning that, but if they're bringing it to Steam Deck, it should be fine on the Series S. Square Enix has a lot of resources and time to be able to get this on there, but that's pretty cool that they are bringing it as a Steam Deck verified device. Now, in terms of PC GPUs, NVIDIA, they did announce their 50 series cards. They will now also be discontinuing the 4070 in January. So that card is gone. And the RTX 4060 and the RTX 4060 Ti are going to be reaching their EOL in Q1 of 2025. So a bunch of cards are leaving here as they prepare, obviously, for the release of the 50 series cards. And then finally, we have this former Blizzard CCO's Bonfire Studios. They have named their game. We now know what it is. It is called Archeron. So this is the next game, again, from the former Blizzard Chief Creative Officer, Rob Pardo. And they officially revealed that Archeron is a team-based PvP game set in a dark, foreboding world. So they don't really give us too much information about it, but they do say there's a simple truth at the heart of our development philosophy. If we don't love our game, our players won't either. We believe the best games are born from a genuine love of playing them, which is why we've poured years of passion into developing Archeron, constantly iterating and refining it to deliver something truly unique and exciting. We've played the game daily as a team for years, and while we haven't figured out yet exactly how to describe it, we often say you have to play to get it. We're eager to start sharing the fun we found in Archeron with a wider community soon, and we hope players will love it as much as we do. So that's pretty cool. In terms of gameplay and features and everything, they do say it will feature familiar ideas and concepts, but it's about creating something entirely new, dynamic, fast-paced PvP gameplay experience. So if you're looking forward to that studio's new game, has been named, and I'm sure we will see some gameplay of it soon, especially if they've been playing it in-house now for a while. But on the video there, guys, if you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.